Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PRECAP for Division 4D. With me is Rick, my esteemed colleague.
Evening, everyone.
We are basically just going to do a flying run through the teams, have a look at them. We are still one team down, but I have pulled them up on rebelnet, so when they show up, they show up. So we are going to start with Bowie's Boyos. Bowie's Boyos, Lord Sigismund's Pro Elf team, the highest TV team in the division. They're looking pretty spicy, it must be said.
Nice setups. It's always what you want as elves.
Yeah, just the stat-ups across the board here, really, in terms of all the teams. So I think that I counted maybe 2 teams, or 1 team even, who don't have a stat-up somewhere. But yeah, you've got double move-up Blitzer, which is ridiculous.
It's a great piece for one turning.
Yeah. You've got the Agi up Blitzer, who presumably is going to be lobbing that ball to the other Blitzer. It's just going to be Blitzer on Blitzer action there. And then you have the unfortunately niggled Agi up Catcher, who could well prove to be a weak link in that he may not survive whatever games he happens to be playing. But as a blodge stepper, is fairly protected against anything that isn't a dwarf or a chorf or a really nasty tackle killer piece. So you never know. He may last the season. I'm not so sure myself. I think Absolute Beginner is probably on borrowed time though. Move 5. I'd probably just get rid of him if I were Lord Sigmund.
Yeah, move down is really detrimental for any elf team.
I mean, I suppose you just put him on the line and deny him Apo privileges and hope that Dodge does something in terms of keeping him alive for a little while, just to be a pain in the arse.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if anyone is watching, do let me know that you can hear us both all right. I can hear everything fine on my end, but you never know. We may have the old ghost co-caster thing going on. We'll pull up my channel and check. I just want to talk, Rick.
Yeah, I must say I'm quite impressed with this team. It has everything that you want. A one turn threat. You have a leaper, a sacker, a mighty blow on the elf team. Very nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice team. They're really quite well balanced. Peace Frog says that everything is loud and clear. Says good evening as well. Good evening to you, Peace Frog. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I mean, it's a great team. It's a great team. The team value being what it is, they're going to be giving up inducements to pretty much everyone, at least initially, which could prove thorny for them, but I think they've got all the tools to succeed rather well this one.
As long as he survives all the fouls that those AV7 pieces are getting, then he'll be very, very nicely, I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Apparently I need to up my volume a little bit, so I will do that. Is that better, folks? Am I louder?
Or lower my volume. I don't know what's easier.
I think it's probably easier for me to just up my volume. Mine was only at about half anyway. There we go, sorted. Yeah, so I think the fouls are going to be a thing. If there's a heck of a lot of nasty fouls on this team, then they could fall apart pretty rapidly. Having played pro elves in the past, it's an experience that I have some some recollection of. You know, as soon as Ziggy Stardust or Aladdin Sane or Super Creep or Diamond Dog goes down, I would expect them to get kicked in the head in pretty short order. Man Who Sold the World as well, the lineman with kick and blodge, quite a viable target for a good foul or 6 as well. We will talk about the games. We will talk about the games when we have done the teams, Ravers, so we will discuss that then. All right, so next up we have the Tykes Kalan Barbarians, which is Papa Bao's Amazon team. Again, quite high TV. I think they are either the second or the third highest TV in the division. 1810, looking pretty tasty as well. You know, you've got 2 Agi ups and a strength up in there, and kind of mirroring the previous team, we have a line woman with a move bust. In this case, though, fend and wrestle just to make them a massive pain in the arse on the line. You know, guard is coming out nicely. There's a stand firm, which is an interesting choice on a blitzer, especially before mighty blow. Don't know what to make of that one. It's a good choice.
Yeah, and he's also lacking tackle still.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, which is where I think that the the Zon team looks a bit thin. The complete lack of tackle, and there's some really nasty agi teams. The Pro Elves, for example, and then my Wood Elf team as well, where pretty much everyone has dodge. So they could kind of flail around ineffectually a bit, depending on what happens. That is a very nice looking level 5 thrower, though. The Blodge Step strong arm thrower.
Hell yes.
With short hands, just as a ball carrier, that's pretty much exactly what you want. And you know, who's going to object to a strength up catcher? Like, that is a piece that you can, at a pinch, run through and kind of grab the ball with on the blitz, or lob the ball to on the blitz. And you've kind of got a natural thrower there as well in 3 Anvil and in 10 Radar, given their agi ups. It's, in terms of stat ups, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's a bit high TV for an Amazon team, so
Yeah.
hopefully you can use all those valuable players well.
Yeah, and I expect that, unfortunately, as is the way with Amazon teams, it probably won't stay this high TV for all that long. There will be deaths. There will be deaths. But yeah, very good team, very solid looking, and I think they'll do well this season if they can survive the Dwarf Chorf combo. I did take a quick look at the schedule earlier, and they do have the Dwarfs in week 4, and that could well, the outcome of that game could well determine the outcome of their season. So, want to keep an eye on. So we have the Buffed Hooves, who are the Chorf team, who Meowakin has just accepted his ticket, so they have shown up. These boys have a terrifying player in Dollar Bowler.
Oh my god.
Just wrong. I hate it. I want it to die. I hate Chorfs anyway, but that is just obscene. Strength 6, break, tackle, block, bull centaur. Just what?
Absolutely disgusting, yes.
Meowkin, get out. But you know, the rest of the it's a cage dive on a 3+. You're correct there. It's a horrible player. It's the choice of skills there with the strength ups coming where they were. It just made sense to take break tackle before tackle there, and now you got tackle there. That's just a hideous player to play against. It can basically go anywhere it wants and do anything it likes, as long as it's not having to pass through 2 tackle zones to get there. But the rest of the team ain't that bad either. I mean, you've got the ball carrier Hobbo with block, short hands, and kick off return, which is kind of the classic combo. And then you've got the claw coming out and the claw pommer. We actually have a claw pommer already, Brother Honor. And Elbril Insane as well as a support piece with grab, mighty blow, and guard. Just Chorf teams, they're kind of what they are. And they are not fun. Interesting choice with the Minotaur. It's obviously been around for a short while. Juggernaut as first skill is certainly an interesting choice, but not a bad one at all. So be interesting to see whether that kind of eats up the blitzes to the extent that it's detrimental to the rest of the team. Minotaurs obviously on Chorf teams make a lot more sense than Minotaurs on Chaos teams. So more on that later, I guess. What do you reckon?
We'll see how the Minotaur works. It's maybe just more the fun factor, which makes sense when you're playing chores. You know, you need all the fun that you get somewhere.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
the two claw chores is like all that you need, and a little bit more SPPs on all the chores, and it's a good team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kicks there. You've even got Saka Hobgoblin coming through there with wrestle and strip ball.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So specking the Hobgoblins out already, which is always good to see. But yeah, I am not looking forward to playing this team.
Oh, me neither. That one bull centaur just changed the game completely.
It's handling that thing is going to be the kind of conundrum for any coach playing against Meowakin this season, because that player is just so big and so scary that what do you do? And you know, I kind of dig the Minotaur there as well, because that means you've got a strength 6 piece and a strength 5 piece, so you're going to be able to outmuscle a heck of a lot of players. I think the Minotaur the problem with the Minotaur having wild animal means that you can't really use it as a second, you know, big strong guard piece.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I would probably think that guard might be a good option for the other bull. The frenzy break tackle there kind of makes sense, but unless you're going to get that block in there and then, you know, kind of spec out as another killer. Normally, I would see like a bull centaur being specced out as a ball carrier and one specced out as a killer piece, but it looks like it's kind of gone for killer on both here. So maybe just relying on the hobos.
Yeah, I think relying on the hobos is the more common sense
Mhm.
choice, and I actually really like frenzy on the bulls that are just
Yeah,
to
same.
for the pitch and to push people off.
Yeah, it is a surfer. Break tackle allows it to disengage from whatever it happens to be tied up on, so it can go and surf nice players on the opposition team. It's a very healthy looking dwarf team, and they're going to be very
Yeah,
tough to play against. I would say that if their first couple of games go well, then they're going to be a tough team to beat this season.
yeah. It always depends how Claw works. If Claw just works well, they win everything. If Claw doesn't work, it could be hard,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see.
Okay, so next we have in over our heads, Peace Frogs Dwarves. Um, They are a much more svelte 1590 TV with 140k in the bank, so they've got some money they're sitting on. Probably going to have to think about selling that at some point. They actually got, I didn't check to see if the others had stadiums. Nope, just a level 1 stadium, no enhancement. So maybe that's the route that'll go down. We have a movement up runner, which if you're going to get movement up on a dwarf player, that's about the only one that you actually take. Who has dodge as well, and then a blodger runner as well. Blitzers, undeveloped, but the Troll Slayers kind of make up for that, as well as Reckless Flamingo, who I don't know what happened with him, but he seems to have just grabbed as much SPP as he possibly could. Great name as well, Reckless Flamingo. I like that.
I love it. Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got one Troll Slayer who is basically there to hit things that have dodge, and you have one Troll Slayer there who is basically there to hit things that don't have dodge. And I mean, blodge on a Troll Slayer is pretty spicy.
So sidestep on the Troll Slayer is also pretty
Yeah,
spicy.
yeah. There's certainly interesting choices, aren't there? So, so yeah,
I
I
love
think
the Juggernaut though.
yeah, Juggernaut's a great pick, really great pick. Um, Presumably for a similar reason to what we were talking about with the Bull Centaur, um, uh, in terms of like surfing ability. I mean, it's
Yes.
a frenzy piece, so you give it Juggernaut so you can surf things easier. Dodge means that in theory, if you could get a decent hit on a ball carrier or something like that through a tackle zone, you could feasibly, as a last ditch thing, attempt the cage dive as well. Although I wouldn't recommend that on OG2.
Yeah, with SG2, you hope you don't have to make that play, but it helps him keeping standing up more if people block him without tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Peace Frog's probably going to be looking at trying to get those blitzers up, SPP wise, and then kind of kicking on from there and pulling out the Holy Trinity on the other Longbeards. I mean, you've already got the one. One of them decided to be fancy and get dodge, so it's going to be a little bit delayed in that respect. But once you start getting, once you get stand firm on a blodge Longbeard, then they just become the biggest pain in the arse in the universe. So completely understandable pick there.
Yeah, and the more dodge you have on a team, the better it becomes. So he has like already like 4 dodge on the team.
Yeah, 4 dodge on a dwarf team is great, especially this far into development for that team. So next we have the Hollywood Vampires, who are Lexus D and his vampire team, as you would expect from the name. They're kind of a really interesting team to look at, because they're kind of like vampire-wise, they're a little bit all over the place, but in a good way. They're all kind of getting towards. You've got the 3 vampires who are rocking the blodge. One of whom has guard on top and a move bust, and then the other one has sidestep on top of that. And then you've got Sean Connery, who has block and mighty blow, and then Diego Maradona, who has block and frenzy. So they are kind of all working out very well, and the SPP seems to have landed exactly where you want it to be, which is anywhere but the thralls. And where the SPP has landed on the thralls, he's ended up with a Rackler and a strength up, which is, can't really complain about that.
That's what you want from your thralls.
Yeah, they are meat. They are meat to be murdered. So if you're gonna get SPP on them, it might as well be SPP that does something a little bit unusual or a little bit wild. I'm a big fan of Rackle, so if you got a Rackler brawl, that's not the worst thing in the world. You run up and hypno-gaze your target, or your way through to the target with one of the vampires, and then Rackle with the thrall, because if it goes horribly wrong, you're not losing a vampire on it. But yeah, so 1730 TV, and as I pointed out, most of that TV is eaten up by the vampires. I think they'll do well as well, so long as they can get the dice, which is always the way with vampires. Anything you'd like to add about this team?
Yeah, I know personally well how absolutely bonkers high TV vampire is, and I think this is about to get there. It's not as dangerous as it could be, maybe.
Yeah, I think the lack of Mighty Blow in there means that they're probably, a level off for Chadwick Boseman before becoming truly, and for Diego Maradona before they become truly terrifying.
Yeah, a little bit more pro maybe, or some more dodges on your two other vampires, and then the teams are really good.
Yeah, just lacking that pro and lacking a couple of dodges, and that's about it. They really need to become serious contenders, I think. Lack of tackle there as well. Rattler is the only tackler. Ravers is completely correct there. So they may struggle against the more mobile teams. And again, they may not, because more mobile teams do roll lots of ones. Okay, so next we have Topkos's Hanson Runners, the Necro team, and we have a delightful stat freak werewolf who is unfortunately armor bust. So Agi 4 but AV7. But Blodge on both wolves. One of them has tackle and sidestep, the other one has tackle and agi up. So they're a pretty nasty combination between the two of them.
But no Mighty Blow. That's always
no
sad
Mighty
to
Blow.
see.
I would think that Mighty Blow is going to be coming very soon, though. And I suppose the claw kind of makes up for that a little bit. You can kind of get away with putting Mighty Blow on there a bit later. But yeah, so another team that is kind of lacking in the Mighty Blow and the tackle department. One of the whites hasn't quite come through yet, but is only a couple of SPP away from getting that next level. The other one's got the Mighty Blow, the sole Mighty Blow in the team. And yeah, just kind of spamming guard a little bit, which makes perfect sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Guard Ghoul, and one of the fleshies is block guard already. The other one is just a rookie and is 2 off of getting the all-important first level. Sitting at 1710, which feels a little bit high considering how front-loaded the skills are onto the wall.
That feels very high. Well, 50k is from cash.
It's 50k from cash, so I would expect to see that get bled off in some fashion. They have a security gate, so they won't be spending that on a stadium upgrade. They may well just drop the money on upgrading the stadium to level 3, I guess, but it may just be a case of bleeding off that 50k by hiring and firing some cheerleaders. So yeah, they'll actually be at 1660 for their first game, presumably. I happen to be their first opponent, so that should be a fun one. I'm a little scared of the wolves.
No, they don't have Mighty Blow. It's not that dangerous.
Yeah, and Claw does nothing really.
Yeah, it's just 40% for armor break. It's low odds.
So realistically speaking, there are certainly worse teams I could have got as the first opponent. All right, so the Frog Funhouse, which is Ploppen's Lizardmen. Now, the really interesting thing that you can actually see from just looking at the team roster display here is they're currently sitting on with just 2 skinks. However, one of those skinks is an absolute freak.
That's a very good skink.
It's an incredible skink. Klar of Tlaxtlan move 9, agi 4, blodge, sprint. It's just it's a silly player. Sprint and short feet. It is a silly player, and
It's pretty much the perfect skink.
the perfect skink. Yeah, the only thing that I would say that player needs now when it gets to 176 is probably sidestep as well.
Yes, I said definitely.
Just to make those 1 turns easier to set up.
Yeah. Then you just need 1 push and then you're in.
And then you're away. You're away
Yeah.
off to the races. I expect Clive Tlaxlan, even more than perhaps the Bull Centaur of Doom, probably has the biggest target on him in the division.
Yep.
Because awful player. I hate him and I want him to die.
I love him. I love him very much. I'm also a lizard coach, so I'm very much biased to this lizardman. Very nice team.
It's
actually.
a really nice team. Presumably they're going to get a couple of rookie skinks, but they can probably get away with not having them, presumably. They are running with 1 reroll, which is super interesting.
1 reroll, what?
1 reroll. So there's some serious memery going on here. Like, I'm going to beat you with my Uber skink and 1 reroll. It's kind of a great story.
I mean, 2 rerolls I can understand, but 1 reroll is absolutely bonkers.
Playing with fire, they're plopping. I love you for it, though. It's going to be great to see whether that bites you in the arse or not. In terms of the Saurus are great. You've got block on all of them except for 1, who presumably is a recent replacement, given his lack of SVP. You've got guard and tackle and stuff coming out. You've got Mighty Blow. Croxagore has unfortunately not got block yet, but has everything else. So, guard, stand firm, break tackle on a Croxagore is horrible. It just needs that lucky roll, that lucky break to get the block and then turn into an absolute monster of a piece. After that, I think you probably go grab. That's what I did with my ogre, with my human team. It looks exactly like this, except it has block and grab on top as well.
Yeah, block is such an amazing skill to have on those 5 strength pieces.
It just makes them so much less stressful to use. But yeah, you've got the classic Saurus pillar there with the block, guard, stand firm. You've got the classic Saurus, I'm going to kick your head in with Pwakix, with his block, break tackle, mighty blow, and tackle. And then there's a second kind of killer Saurus developing as well. So yeah, 1440, and for 1440, he's getting a lot of bang for his buck there. But yeah, little bit worrying with the skinks. Obviously, he's going to get loners for these, but you'd think you'd probably want to replace the skinks as quickly as possible.
Well, you don't really have to. I mean, loner skinks kind of do the same job that normal skinks do, because only this super skink is going to have the ball. So what I always do is I only replace skinks when I have over 150k money in the bank.
Makes sense. But yeah, I think it is skink hunting season, and
yeah, definitely.
I'm very surprised. I haven't actually checked, but I'd be very surprised if Cloud Slacksland does not have a bounty by the end of this season. Okay, so next we have my team, the Triple Word Score, who have had an interesting time of it, it must be said. I keep having to replace linemen because they keep dying on me.
I mean, you're 87, it's to be expected.
Yeah, and I did lose a War Dancer pretty early on. We got a couple of MVPs and a couple of levels. But yeah, in terms of my team, Cuthbert Cream got his move up, so he's pretty close to a level, as is Dandy Panpipe the Thrower. Bougie Daddy, absolute hero, carried the team. Just can't roll a double. I cannot roll a double to save my life, apart from that startup, which was lovely. But I would really like to roll some more doubles, please. Just give me some doubles already. Using reverse psychology here as well. The replacement player for the last lineman who died, I have named One Game Wonder, so I'm trying to trick Knuckle there. Because naming a player something specific means that it won't do that one thing. So
we'll
what
see
probably
if
happened is line
Knuckle
for
Yep.
But yeah, so I've been running perpetually one player down, which is fine, because the loner just stands on the line and gets punched. It is jump up on Booty Daddy, So Booty Daddy is a sidestep, tackle, strip ball, jump up war dancer, which means he's a absolute pain in the ass, and runs as a very nice ball sacker. And I am not afraid of the red dice. So
Yeah,
you may
everyone
see
that
some
doesn't
Death or
have,
Glory attacks on that ball centaur at some point.
everyone that doesn't have sure hands will dread your team with two strip ball.
Yeah. My Achilles heel is that I have not got any guard. But again, that's because I can't roll doubles. So yeah, I'm not going to make predictions about where I'm going to end up. It's probably going to be last. So the only team that I have had any experience. Do you want to say anything about my team before we carry on? Actually,
Yeah, you just need this agility 5 bullshit elf player that many elf teams have, and then you're a great player to pick up the ball once you get it loose,
yeah,
and then your team is complete.
we can but hope that Dandy Panpipe's first level is an agi up, in which case everyone immediately hates me. So Kokos is afraid of the Booty Daddy. You should be. He is the big bad Booty Daddy, and he is your hookup. It's a Scott Steiner reference, if any of you were wondering. He's named for my pro elf Blitzer, actually. So yeah, stupid names, really stupid names. I apologise for the stupid names.
Well, I like the names.
All right, so yeah, the only team that I actually have prior experience playing against, I actually played Lagabon in Training Grounds, his Kislev team, the Unfulfilled Potential, with the amazingly named Bear in Mind I'm the Bear. Same bear. They're a svelte for a Kislev team, 1600 TV. He styled all over me in our game. I think it beat me 3-1, something like that. And Kislev teams are difficult to handle for a lot of coaches because playing against them is kind of like some weird new version of Blood Bowl because of all that leap. But they're looking pretty great. You know, you've got a nice level 4 catcher in Leonard the Violent. The blitzers are starting to come through now as well. Yeah, they're a great Kislev team. Kind of what you want in a Kislev team.
It's beginning to look awesome. You have this guard catcher, which is really nice piece to leap in to provide us assists and some more levels on the blitzers, and then it's already looking pretty good.
Yep, and Leonard the Violent, I'm going to assume, is going to essentially be the ball carrier du jour. But yeah, once those blitzers start putting out things like tackle, then they're going to get really unpleasant. The bear being very slow to level, not the worst thing in the world for a Kislev team, because the bear's primary function is to stand there with its very annoying tail and stop anything from moving. But yeah, so I think Lagabon will do well this season. Like I said, I have played him, so I have some experience there. So our Soul Chaos representatives, the Trailer Park Boys of Saddam, and they have a level 5 Minotaur, which is madness for a Chaos team. And everyone is probably who has ever played Chaos is going, why have you taken a Minotaur? But that Minotaur, being level 5 with claw, block, it's got block for God's sake. It's a block Minotaur, which is just horrible. And tense, and guard.
That's when Minotaurs actually become good. When they have block, they're actually good.
Yeah. So it's a block, claw, tentacles, guard Minotaur. It's just a horrible piece to play against, and I hate it, and I want it to die. And then just for good measure there, we've got 2 Beastmen with Agi Up. So you've got the Agi Up block piece, who I'm presuming is probably going to get Sure Hands next. And then the Agi Up Strong Arm, who is essentially a thrower in Beastman form. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out on the next one there. Probably block, I would think. But you never know. Might get something spicy. Jacob the Beastman is a killer, standard killer Beastman. He's definitely gone, I'm going to just batter the crap out of you with this team. They are lacking in guard. I think that is the one thing that I can really say about them that's a big negative.
They're also lacking in tackle, and there's lots of dodge.
Lots of dodge in this division. So they could struggle against the more mobile teams as a consequence of that. But this is a team that is built to destroy bash teams at the moment. So we will see whether that happens. The Trailer Park Boys could be could be a team that many a coach regrets playing this season. So we're on to the Red Fang Elite Warriors Indies Orc team, who are a slim and trim 1290 at the moment, with Grunter the Troll out injured, and Rock Soup the Agiup Blitzer out injured as well. Looks like they got a bit of a battering in their last game. All the injuries here. Just an MNG on the Troll, and on Rock Soup, just an MNG, so nothing too horrendous there. I like this team, and they're a slim and trim orc team, which I always appreciate. The Black Orcs have leveled very rapidly, which you would expect to see from a coach of Hindy's caliber. Just Hedge Scratcher's bequest now to get that fourth mighty blow, and then once they get the guard out, they become the proverbial wall of Blork. I'm a fan of the Troll, so I approve of taking said Troll. I don't know why I'm talking like that. My record as an orc coach is diabolical, and he is a far better coach than I will ever be. But yeah, it's a meat and potatoes orc team. There's nothing hugely fancy about them, but that doesn't really need to be. And they will be 540 with the MNGs back, as Ravers pointed out, and they will be an absolute pain to play against for a hell of a lot of teams. Again, though, lacking a bit of tackle. So that's probably something that Patched Helm will address when he gets his next level, and might see some Rackle come out on the lineman in time for the end of the season if they survive that long. But yeah, lacking tackles, so they may well struggle against the Agi teams if they can't get those hits in. But those blocks will make it easier for them to get those multiple dice hits for sure.
Yeah, as you said, I'm really impressed with how much SVP he's got on this orc, but he's an ex-Lizardman player, so I'm sure he's very experienced in there. He used to be my mentor back when I was a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice orc team.
Yeah, needs block on the Troll.
Block on the Troll. Some more tackles, more guard, and then
if you're going to take a Goblin, you're at some point obligated to get. If you're going to take a Troll, you're obligated to get a Goblin at some point. Just I'd say that, but I never bought one myself. So.
Yeah, I don't foresee Indus taking buying a Goblin here, but maybe he's gonna buy one now just to spite us. We'll never know.
Us, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Waterloo Sunset, which is Raver's human team. They have a ridiculous blitzer in Wonderboy with Mighty Blow, Strength Up and Tackle. And they have a Agi Up Catcher, and then Mr. Songbird, the Strength Up Block lineman, basically there to be a pain in the ass. They're a good-looking human team. They are a good-looking human team. They're sitting at 1730, which, if I'm honest, I think is slightly high, but they've rolled so many doubles and things that it's kind of understandable. And they've got a really solid core of a team there.
As a human team, you really need those stat-ups to be like competitive with other teams, I think. So you really
absolutely.
Strength up is just super nice. Agility up as well.
Yeah, strength up and the agility up. Landing where they have as well is excellent. Again, we've got another big guy that doesn't have block. And Raver's bloaty lineman. I would think that Raver's bloaty lineman will probably get tackle. Or possibly guard. But yeah, there's a lack of tackle here as well. It seems to be a theme running through a lot of these teams. So I guess we'll see whether the tackle can come out before the lack of tackle becomes an issue for a heck of a lot of these teams. Johnny Thunder's not far off of getting another level, so he may well opt to get tackle on him. But yeah, it's a decent team. It's a decent team. The move bust on Harry Rag is not the worst thing in the world, but
definitely not.
But having had to use a human team with very broken blitzers for a while, stat downs rather, are a nightmare for a human team. But it's a blodger, so again, not the end of the world.
A guard blodger, you just stick him in where the fight is.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the movement doesn't really matter that much.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think they've got the potential to do very well. Nothing too fancy there. They do need to bleed off some money as well. and Squig Sandwich Kiosk, which is a good choice. Last but not least, Gerbez Camry, who made its play-ins.
Old Scarab Camarads.
Yeah. I think we're going to just refer to this team as the unpronounceables for the duration of the season, because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that team name. I'm going to have to try with some of the players. So a key thing here is beginning of the season. He's a hell of a coach. Gerber's a fantastic coach, and a commentator extraordinaire, and we're very lucky to have him. Nick Nwire, which is probably the easiest to pronounce player on this roster. I don't know why he does this. Just he's a git. So Tomb Guardian, who is down and out. Let's check the injury on this one.
I believe that is a niggle.
Just an MNG. Yeah.
MNG. Oh, MNG.
It is an MNG on the Tomb Guardian. We have the move down Blitzra, and then we have the Throw Ra, who is also going to be missing for this game, who just has a move down as well, which is a little bit unfortunate when your Throw Ra with the move down is the ball carrier who has the Agi up and is the only one really who is really reliably able to pick the ball up. But you were never going to be moving very quick with Camry anyway. So in reality, a move bust is not the end of the world for that player, really. Because they were going to just very slowly roll up the pitch and punch everyone in the head anyway. So
yeah, but when shit goes wrong, sometimes you have to make those quick sprints for it, and then you'll have to make GFIs now.
I think it's difficult for me to bet against Gerber because his track record is so good.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to watch him in Division 5, and he played really well and just beat everyone with just superior positioning.
Yeah. So he's a phenomenal coach. I played him a couple of times in Imperium. So yeah, tons of respect for him in regards to that. The Worm Protectors haven't accepted their ticket yet, as far as I can tell. However, I did pull them up on REBBL.net. So let me just do my thing and pull them up there so everyone can see.
What was the team name you said?
The Worm Protectors. So this is the
Worm
Dark Elf team.
Ah, yes.
This is the Dark Elf team. Folket's Dark Elves. So, as you should all be able to see, they have a very nice blitzer in the Agi Up Tackle leap piece. And they have, interestingly, a jump up blitzer now as well. The big issue here for me is that they have two Witch Elves, one of whom is out for the count, both of whom are niggled. And a large amount of their SPP has fallen to those, which is great, but when they're niggled, they become a bit of a liability. I think this is the team that has played the least games in this division overall.
11 games played, yeah, that's very low.
Yeah, so it's very low. Mad respect for taking an assassin, though, even if that assassin has now been Agi bust, which is, yeah, it looks like they've had a bit of a beating, really.
Yes.
And it's a Dark Elf team with two runners, which is really strange because a hell of a lot of people would say a Dark Elf team with no runners is the best Dark Elf team. But, the kind of unorthodox nature of it means that they may well be able to pull things off that more conventional Dark Elf teams couldn't. I think the big test for them is whether they're going to survive long enough to be able to make any sort of run. We'll have a look at the schedule shortly after this, but these two Witch Elves are looking like these two Witch Elves are looking like they're going to get crumped at some point.
Yeah. He has so many AV7 pieces, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really low AV Dark Elf team, which is really strange. But it's a gimmicky one, so there's a possibility that they could actually do very well just by kind of getting lucky with their gimmicks. Their kind of trickeries. I mean, Dump Off is an underrated skill, I think, having played in Imperium a lot and ended up with it on a bunch of players. Especially when you've got a player like Mesnir who can easily recover the ball and easily catch it pretty much wherever it ends up. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a rough one for poor Folket, assuming he shows up. But it might not be. If there's a team who could kind of buck the odds, then Dark Elves are not the worst team to put your money on there.
Yeah, they still has some good skills on it. Especially the one Agility 5 Blitzers is really good.
Yeah, that Blitzer is fantastic. But yeah, so remains to be seen if they can kind of survive long enough to start developing and potentially replacing the Witch Elves as well. Because I think those Witch Elves with the Niggles are just an accident waiting to happen. Or a very deliberate killing. So we'll drop off of the view here and go back to the game client. I've just totally got rid of the wrong one there. That was smart. Okay, and we'll take a quick look at the schedule. So here we go. First games. So we have the Frog Funhouse versus the Buffed Hooves. So we have the Lizmen with their Uber Skink versus the Chorfs with their Uber Bull. And I really think that Uber Skink has probably run into the worst team that they can run into to begin with this season. So tough first game for the Frog Funhouse, because if that Uber Skink does get tied up in Chorfs, then it may well die. Not an easy game for the Buffed Hooves though, because this is one of the few teams that can outstrength them. Do you have a prediction for this one, Rick?
Yeah, it's definitely a hard choice, like you said. Like Chorfs has Claw Mighty Blow, which you don't want to listen, but they don't have that much guard yet. I think the Chorfs will take it though, unfortunately, for my lizard brothers.
I think the power of Claw might well just prove the deciding factor here. I'm not going to go so far as to predict a winner for this one, because I think it's going to be a tight affair. But I would say that I think that I would agree with you that Chorfs will win, especially if they get.
Yeah, we can run a competition between us to see which guesses the most wins.
I like the idea of that actually. Let's do a prediction.
So we choose the same team here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 Chorfs. Because I think they're going to remove the Uber Skink at some point during the game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be important who gets the coin toss at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think the coin toss is going to potentially be the thing that decides the game. In fact, the Chorfs go first, and I think the Lizardmen are kind of under the gun a little bit there.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on those removal dice.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we have the triple word score versus the I can't even say my team's name right. versus the Handsome Runners. Normally, I mean, if we're going to do a competition, I'm going to have to bet on my team every week. Otherwise, I'm going to be running it a point behind you just all season. So we're just going to say as a blanket statement from now on that I'm going to pick my team to win every week. That way nobody can accuse me of anything, talking myself up or anything like that. And hopefully Nuffle will be kind to me for doing that. But I'm not going to bet against myself, because I think that's actually a worse thing to do in terms of
Yeah, you always need to be confident and just have faith in yourself.
Exactly, yeah. So triple word score are going to do it. We're going to take down the Handsome Runners. I'm going to do a little war dancer dance on top of their wolf. I don't know. What's your prediction for that one?
Necro is usually hard for Wood Elves, right?
Yeah, Necro can be really tough.
Yeah, I don't know, because he doesn't have sure hands. So your strip ball will be very nice there. And he doesn't have tackle mighty blow, so your important pieces are pretty safe.
Mm-hmm.
So for this week, I put my faith in you.
I would recommend to the audience that nobody ever put their faith in me where Blood Bowl is concerned. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Okay, so this is going to be the interesting one, I think, as well. And this is a very interesting matchup: the Unfulfilled Potential versus the Hollywood Vampires.
Ooh, yeah.
Because they're kind of meme teams. You know, you've got Vampires versus Jumpy Kislev boys. That's a really tough one for me to call. I think a lot of that is going to come down to Hypnogaze rolls. If the Hypnogaze rolls are in the pocket for the Vampires, then they could well have a very dominant performance here. But similarly, if the potentials jump rolls go well, leap rolls go well, it's gonna come down to who rolls the best dice. I mean, Blood Bowl always does, really, but more so in this game. It's going to be very pronounced. I think this is a game where they could have a very even balance of dice, or it's going to go catastrophically wrong for one coach.
Yep, both teams can remove their own players in a rapid fashion.
Yeah. So it may well be the case that the team that has the least self removals is the winner there. I'm gonna go with Lagabond because I've seen him play. Haven't seen the Vampires play yet. So on that purely arbitrary basis, I'm gonna say that the Kislev will win this one.
I was gonna go against you, but then I looked at the win rate of the Vampires, so now I'm.
Oh no! Oh no! You should never do that.
I'll go against you. We have to keep it exciting at some point. So
Yeah,
I believe
every time.
I believe in the Vampires. They got some more skills than some more core skills than the Kislev.
Okay, so then we have the Trailer Park Boys versus In Over Our Heads. That is the Chaos versus the Dwarves. I'm going to put my money on the Dwarves here because I think that the amount of guard they have compared to the Trailer Park Boys' 0 guard is going to be the deciding factor. But again, this could be one of those ones where it comes down to the coin toss. If the Chaos get the first turn and then remove 3 or 4 of the Dwarves,
yeah, exactly.
It's a tough one to call.
I think the Chaos team it needs more skills before they're really good.
Yeah, they're not quite there in terms of the Chaos team that no one wants to play yet.
Mm-hmm. So I'll unfortunately have to agree with you again.
Okay, so we're going Dwarves. Now this is an interesting one. We have the Red Fang Elite Warriors, who are Hindy's Orc team, who are missing a couple of very key players for this game against the. Ravers is correct. It's the worst matchup possible for the Dwarves first up, with all that claw being there. The only matchup I could think of that could possibly be worse.
I think the Chaos Wars is worse.
Yeah, I think the Chaos Wars is a worse team. That being said, the Dauntless on the Troll Slayers mitigates the Strength 6 slightly. But yeah, so yeah, the worst possible matchup of the 2 worst possible matchups for the Dwarves. This one, but I think they'll just edge it just because of that guard. But yeah, Red Fang Elite Warriors, Hindy's team, missing a couple of very key players in the Troll and the Agiup Blitzer, going in against the Amazons of the Taze-Kalan Barbarians, who, for my money, are a very good-looking team. I think the Barbarians will take this one because of the lack of tackle on the Red Fang Elite Warriors.
Yeah, I was just counting. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 10 blotch or watch pieces. So this is going to be a very frustrating match for him. He has 1 tackle, so I still put my faith in my old mentor.
He's a great coach, so it's completely understandable. I'm gonna assume it's going to be very difficult for you to bet against him pretty much any week anyway. But yeah, I'm going to give this one to the Barbarians, so we'll go opposites.
Very nice. Then we agree on something else.
Yeah. So then we have Waterloo Sunset versus Bowie's Boyos. Now, this is an intriguing matchup, I would say. This is the Pro Elves versus the Humans. So the disparity in terms of TV here means that the Humans are going to be pulling a big old chunk of inducements out for this one. I'm not sure how I feel about this one.
The Humans have your hands. That helps.
Yeah, it certainly helps. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I'm going to give it to Waterloo Sunset on the basis that I think they're probably capable of weathering bad dice better than Bowie's Boyos are in this game. But it's a Pro Elf team. Pro Elf teams can be absolutely nightmarish to play against when the dice are coming up well for them. And that is a very spicy Pro Elf team. So yeah, I'm going to provisionally give it to Ravers, the Humans, for that one.
All right, I'll be going for the Pro Elves. That with that insane movement player is just guaranteed that he gets the 1 turn.
He is a grotesque player.
He just needs to score in his drive and like
Yeah,
somehow stall a bit, and yeah, he can make it done.
yeah. Maybe if that ogre fails a block with its lack of block, then the humans could kind of collapse. But I'll give it. We'll be contrarian. I'll go with Waterloo Sunset for this one.
Yes,
So
very
last but
nice.
not least, currently reading as admin on here because the Worm Protectors haven't accepted their ticket yet. We have the Unpronounceables versus the Worm Protectors. I think it's very hard to bet against the Unpronounceables taking this one, even with their beaten up throw Ra. We have a Dark Elf team with one less Witch Elf, and we have a Khemri team who will just position everything all over the place.
Perfectly, yeah.
The Dark Elves haven't really got the skills yet to contend with them in a punch up, and they don't really have the skills quite yet to be super mobile. I mean, they're obviously going to be mobile because they're an elf team, but yeah. So I think this is going to be a win for Gerber.
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
Yeah, so that is our predictions, I guess.
Yeah, we disagree on 3 matches, so that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, and as I mentioned to you before we started streaming, there will be an intro video for this coming for the recap next week, because I will have been able to go into the client and grab footage of all the teams prior to then. But this is basically what the format is going to consist of. If there's anything specific we want to talk about in any particular game, we can always dive in and have a look. Maybe there's some ridiculous one-turn play or some utterly brutal turn where like 10 players get removed or something that we can go and have a closer look at. But yeah, if there's anything that anyone would like to see or like us to talk about specifically with recaps, do let me know on the Discord server. I will try and grab the other coaches who haven't joined the Discord server yet as well. And yeah, thanks for joining me, Rick.
You're
I'm going to call it there because I have to go and do something in about half an hour's time. So I'm going to go and make myself a cup of coffee and have a pot noodle because I'm that rock and roll. and yeah, it's been a pleasure.
my pleasure as well.
We'll crack on with actually talking about games next week, and we'll see who is the better predictor,
Yes,
the better
excited.
soothsayer. My pleasure, Ravers. Glad you could join us. Glad that the rest of you could join us as well. If you did miss this, you can obviously watch it on my Twitch channel, but it will go up on my YouTube channel as well. You can find a link for that on my Twitch channel, and I would urge you, if you have not followed my Twitch channel, to follow said Twitch channel. I stream all my Blood Bowl games, so my game on Monday will be streamed. You will be able to hear me talking nonsense and probably crying when it all goes horribly wrong around turn 12 or turn 13. Thanks for the follow, Ravers. So yes, we will call it there, and I will see you all soon.